obvious. We got a problem here, and it's more than just Alvin streaming Punisher. When life begins to suck, who's reporting it? Luckily, you got two friends who you won't forget. Coming live for Alvin and Fran on survival. Laughing non-stop, case drops on a cycle. Louder than intrusive thoughts off an iPhone. How they make the world seem bright with the lights off. AFs, it might as well stay up. Lies being told like that dinosaur BS. Magnifying glass to the ground if they don't see us. Having the time, roasting your favorite pizza. Bougie ain't an option, it's the wage. Take you to the grave, add moving to the place. You already know when they take the case. Laugh the pain away, it's affirmative murder.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Affirmative Murder, the equal opportunity true crime comedy podcast. I am Alvin Williams, joined as always by my partner in true crime, Fran and Alvin.
Oh yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman.
Yeah, man, I'm the mailman. Can't you tell, man? Gonna post to it.
What up?
Fran, hello, sir. How are you doing on this Labor Day weekend extravaganza?
I'm doing great, man. I mean, I ain't got nothing to complain about. Just chilling, hanging out. I got the weekend off, so I'm just got my feet kicked up. I'm kind of get back into football a little bit, so I just kind of been watching college football. No, hell no.
Oh,
watching football.
It's like, what are you doing? You have a midlife crisis?
watching football. So I've been doing some, watching some college football all weekend, but everything's been good.
Deion Sanders is lighting it up.
Coach Prime.
Coach Prime. He's must see TV.
Yes.
Before we get into, there's only one thing I really want to talk to you about. It's a documentary. I know we usually used to back in the day we used to say that to the end, but this is this is the only thing I want to talk to you about. Really, is BS High. We'll get there though.
Yeah.
Before we get to BS High though, I want to start a little bit of podcast war. And kind of explain. There's a podcast coming out in the next week or so, maybe this week. I'm not really sure when it's coming out. And they reached out to you for this whole thing. Good friends of ours, the captain.
Reached out to who?
To you. So I want to kind of explain what this podcast was, and then I kind of want to challenge them in some kind of. I feel like we need to retaliate. And they come on our podcast, or we go on their podcast, or neither, and we just talk shit subliminally to each other. Anyway, a good friend of ours, the captain from True Crime Garage, and good friend of ours, Morgan from Crimepedia and other endeavors as well.
I got you.
They had me on their podcast. They ambushed me to do like a Dawson's Creek trivia episode. The whole episode was a Dawson's Creek trivia episode. Okay. I was bombarded. They dangled $500 in front of my face. They were saying, if you win, we will pay you. If you can beat the captain in a Who Knows Dawson's Creek More competition, trivia, a creek off, we will give you $500. So, I go in there and they are nailing me questions. And this episode, this season, I was just really bombarded and attacked with Dawson's Creek trivia and 90s TV show trivia. But yeah, they also reached out to you.
Yeah. And
why don't you explain to that? So this is where potential podcast wars are starting.
Yeah. See, I didn't know you did the show.
I hadn't done it yet when you told me this.
Okay. So
I have now done it.
Okay.
And I didn't bring it up on the podcast because I didn't want war to break out, that they were trying to bring dissension to our house.
Yeah, so what happened was I get a message from Morgan from Crimepedia, and he said, hey, Alvin is coming on. First of all.
Yeah, why are you messaging why are you messaging me about another man?
First of all, why am I not invited on the show, number one?
That's right. I mean,
that's number one. That's number one.
The disrespect. I don't want to feel it for you, but that's crazy.
I said, what? I said, oh, okay. Then he goes, I was supposed to come on and do the show, and do you have any secret, hidden type of, do
you have any dirt you want to give to your friend of the last 15 years?
You want to give us that?
Give it freely to me?
We can kind of throw it to him to catch him off guard, and I go, that's funny. That would be a nice, funny joke, but I'm my brother's keeper. I'm not going to throw my man under the bus like this.
What type of shit is that?
Right? So I'm like, I was like, I'll get back to you. I'll think of something. So I gave him one, but that wasn't nothing serious. I gave him one. I said, call him AJ. Nobody calls him AJ except for his mom and his grandma. Okay. And I was like, if you say that would catch him off guard, because he would go, why are you calling me that?
Who told you this?
Exactly. Right? So
who are you speaking to?
So I was like, if I think anything else other than that, I will. I was like, anything that he's put out publicly we did on the podcast. If not, then I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Yeah,
'Cause that's just
stranger.
between us, right? So I was like, I'll get back to you. So I never got back to him with anything else.
Yeah,
because I was already butthurt because I went, you're not gonna have
asking me
now
to help you produce your show that you didn't ask me to be on.
Yeah, right. So now, when he's going to be at CrimeCon,
yeah,
it's on site.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's beef now.
No, for sure. We gotta have words, and those words might involve fists as well. Because that's just crazy. That they're trying to come in between a different type of brotherhood. Don't come and ask my brother for dirt on me.
Yeah, man.
And then try to use it and catch me off guard while you're dangling money in my face. Then they probably, if I was doing too well, they probably would have tried to throw in like, oh, I heard that you got caught doing this in the bathroom in middle school. Yeah. You don't need to know those kind of secrets, and Fran wouldn't divulge those kind of secrets to you.
Right.
We had a couple of drinks together. We're cool. I like your shoes or whatever, but you don't get to come and just ask whatever. Yeah. You don't get to just do that and get dirt.
You can't do a trivia on like when it's one-sided, like where it's like, oh, let's do a trivia that I created the questions for.
Right? And he's the captain's friend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's his man. I wouldn't message him and be like, hey man, tell me everything that you know about the captain right now.
Yeah, man.
All the juiciest dirt.
I didn't appreciate
on
that.
your friend.
I didn't appreciate that. And Morgan, captain, it's gonna be some words. It's gonna be some words exchanged.
For sure.
I don't know what level it's gonna go to after the words exchange.
It could escalate. Well, it depends on how they speak.
Yeah, I might have an early trip back from CrimeCon.
For sure. I don't want to get barred or banned from CrimeCon, but it might go up in the lobby of the Hyatt Regency or wherever this event is taking place. I don't know where specifically right now, but I also wouldn't say it because they're not paying me. But it might have to go down, man. But listen, you can check out the fun time that we had on the Captain and Morgan whenever it comes out. I had a great time on the podcast, obviously, and Fran will need to go in there together and tag up on them and really ask them questions. Is about why did you ask? I know why they asked me because I watched Dawson's Creek and you watched nothing. Yeah. So I don't think it really wouldn't have been. You wouldn't have had a chance. It was a
Dawson's Creek theme type show. Is that?
Kind of pretty much. We went Deep Creek. Okay, we went Deep Creek the whole episode. So if you enjoyed Dawson's Creek, please feel free to go check out the Captain and Morgan. You wouldn't even have sniffed the 500. It would have been sad. I don't know. Tom Cruise. You're just throwing out stuff like the. Yeah, I have no idea. What about question number 6? You got me.
Nope.
Who is it? The WB. I don't know.
The frog?
I didn't watch. Was the frog in the creek? But anyway, Fran, yeah, so I just wanted to give a little quick plug and rib those guys over, the good guys over there, obviously, just messing around. So check out the Captain and Morgan whenever you get a chance, and me and Fran would love to come on and shoot the shit with those guys anytime. Fran.
Yeah.
BS High.
Yeah, man.
Let the people know what BS High is before we get into it.
So BS High was Bishop Sycamore High School was. Now I remember this coming out on all the media.
I remember the game. I remember the people being like, "This game is crazy."
Well, before the game, it was like there was already rumblings about this school where it's like there's no school, and it's like what the hell is going on? And I remember seeing this. I go, I can't wait till they come out with a story. I knew it was going to. I didn't know it was going to be this soon.
Yeah,
but I was like, I can't wait.
But do you remember the game? But do you remember I remember being on Twitter and seeing the highlights and being like, there was dudes like missing the ball and the punts and stuff. They were like, this team is getting blown out. Yeah, I remember that specifically.
I remember when people just kept talking about like, what is this school? That's all people said. Like, where's the school coming from? And it was just like people that nobody knew, no 5-star recruits. It was just like 21-year-old men. It was like, and I remember like that, like you said, that game, and they was getting their ass whipped. I do. It
was a nationally televised game.
National televised, and it was like ESPN looked stupid as shit. And it was just like, it was hilarious, man. It was so funny.
So so your wish was granted. They end up making a movie about Bishop Sycamore High. Couldn't have been the better like initials for the school for the documentary,
right?
Like BS High, Bishop Sycamore. That's the name of the school, but it is a BS High school.
Exactly.
And the best analogy I saw, and it's what made me watch the documentary, is somebody said it's like the Scott's Tots episode of The Office if it was not funny and just really sad. Now this ended up being funny for different reasons. I found it hilarious for reasons that it's not supposed to be. But it was really like this guy took a bunch of kids, promised them something, and had no intentions of delivering any of those things. At all. But was like, getting some kind of high off of being in the position that he was. He was a fake it till you make it ass dude.
For sure.
But you can't do that with kids' lives. So this guy makes this school competing with this other school that, and also this all speaks to Fran.
It wasn't even competing.
Well, that was his intention. But it also speaks to the exploitation of black bodies and the fact that the school that he wanted to compete with was making like $78 million a year for a high school team. These are not professional athletes. They don't have to pay them. So all they have to do is like something that you shouldn't really get pat on the back for. You're providing an experience for kids to play football. Yeah. People are coming to watch. Having good facilities and feeding them. I understand that that's a tier type of thing. Like some schools have better equipment than other schools, but like providing equipment to kids when you're making $78 million, that shouldn't be like the trade-off. Like you get to go to this nice school, and obviously you get cameras and you get the scouts. Yeah. And you get the scouts and the name. But that's my thing. It's this crazy, and we talked about Coach Prime, and I think what he is doing is interesting because it's really showing it's like the chicken and egg scenario. Mm-hmm. Florida University wouldn't be Florida University if they weren't getting the kids that they were going and the talent that they were getting to go to the schools and win championships. Alabama or whatever, Auburn, these schools. Yeah. But then now these kids and these bodies make the school what it is, and now the school is the school to go to, so you get on TV and get a chance to go to the NFL. But it's like, what's Auburn if none of these kids go to the school? Yeah. But what's the kids if they don't go to these schools? You know what I mean? Like it's like, which one is which? The school is just a school. It's just a name.
Yeah, but the payoff is you getting Now, I don't agree with this. What I'm saying, the payoff is you getting a full scholarship to a college, a big top D1 college, and potentially going to the pros. That's
eyes on you every week.
Right.
Eyes on you every week.
But going to the NFL is what the big picture is. It's like once you on that track of going to a school like that, IMG, whatever school it is, and then you get to Alabama, you get to Florida State, whatever.
Yes. You have the recruits. They know your name. Exactly. Your name is known. You get it on a draft board. I get it, right? But what, again, Coach Prime, Deion Sanders is doing is like he's using his name and his accomplishments to take a 5-star recruit and get him to go to a historically black college. Something that like nobody was able to do, right? A school that didn't have much of a name. It was a school. It was a popular school, whatever, as far as HBCUs go. But the football team wasn't getting 5-star recruits. Wasn't pulling kids from Oregon State. They weren't like stealing. I mean, Deion Sanders has created a program where he's able to compete in recruiting with like Nick Saban and these guys off of his name. So if you can pull a kid to a school that doesn't have the historical, we have 6 championships in 10 years and whatever, then it's like, well, then what is that school? Because obviously it's the talent and the kids that make the school able to win championships.
Right.
This guy from BS High School, for whatever, I don't believe it. He was associate.
His recruiting strategy was totally different from Coach Prime.
Well, his strategy was just to like have the school. He was like, we can get kids from there's kids playing football on the playground down the street. We'll get them, and they'll come.
Yeah, but those are not top recruited kids, though.
No. His I think his thought was you can just make a team, and you can make a good team. You don't need talent. It's about coaching, and which is also crazy because it's so much. We haven't even really gotten into the craziness of the documentary. These kids said he was getting the plays off of Madden. Yeah. They were eating. Sometimes they didn't eat the bologna sandwiches. And then this guy goes into his scams. And like, I've never seen somebody so crazy as this guy. The way his eyes lit up when he was talking about, he had no remorse.
No.
And the deeper that the documentary was just like, he made a fake school. And then in the beginning, you can believe like, I wanted to give kids a chance. My brother, I pumped my brother up. He ended up getting a scholarship to Ohio State. So you're kind of like, okay, this guy's intentions were good. Then you find out he was getting these kids to take out PPP loans and give the checks right over to him. And then on the documentary, it made me so sad. Like one of the kids, they asked him, "Did you know that you had a PPP loan taken out of your name?" And he goes, "No, I didn't do that." Yeah. So he is ruining these kids' credit, or has ruined. This already happened. He has ruined these kids' credit. Convinced them that they couldn't even go to school. Like, so there was a specific example. There was a kid that was the quarterback of the team. Mm-hmm. Despite how terrible the game was that they finagled to get on ESPN and embarrassed, they got blown. It was
sad.
Yeah, my boy, what was it, Bomani
Jones.
Bomani Jones, love Bomani Jones. Bomani Jones, he said, "Do you know how bad a game has to be for the people that get paid to hype the game up to be on the spot clearly biased in their commentary. So basically he was saying, listen, if a team is being beat by 15 points in a basketball game, it's still the commentator's job to make the game exciting.
Yeah.
Do you know how bad a game has to be for the announcers to be like, somebody should end this. Yeah. This is like, these people are clearly not on the same level as this team. I don't know how this happened. For you to be hearing that from commentators means that the game is so bad that it's clear to the naked eye that these are two teams that are not in the same universe.
It was so bad that the players had to share helmets. They had no medical staff. Like somebody tore their ACL. They had no.
Kid tore their ACL, and another kid's mom was just standing out there.
They had no medical staff, and then the crazy part was that on that game, the game was so bad that IMG was the top dog.
High school,
right? As far as football programs,
yes. Teams
below that, like the 2, 3, dropped out because it was like, we are not wasting our time on playing it. It was that bad where it was like they could have been like, we're gonna go play them and fuck them up. But it was like, we're not.
No, this is a waste of time.
We're gonna drop this game because we're not wasting our time.
We're not serious if we play this game. It makes us look not serious. I got distracted because I started talking about the scam of it all. There was the quarterback for the team got an offer to a school.
Yeah,
he got a scholarship
HBCU.
to go to a school. Yes, to a HBCU. Yeah. He's super excited. And then they had to revoke the scholarship because it wasn't a real school. No. His high school credits or whatever, it was like, we can't transfer you over from that school because it's not a real school. So because your paperwork isn't in order, you can't go here now. Mm-mm. That kid was talking about killing himself.
It ruined them kids. Ruined some of those kids' lives. It was like, I don't even play football. No.
But it wasn't just that he, because this is the thing that also made me sad about this is that black kids in the inner city, this is what they're told. They're told it's like 3 things that you can do. And I hope that I want to be a part of the change of this. And I see this happening. I think that we just need to show kids in bad situations more jobs. Like, it's either like you either are poor or you make millions of dollars. Yeah. And they tell these kids you can rap, which is a lie. There's no money in rap. It just isn't. So this is we need to update this list. But you can rap, you can play sports, or you can be an entertainer, right? So what you saw in this documentary was a bunch of kids at BS High School. What do they say? Like what is it for football? Like 1% of the kids that you see playing football go to the NFL?
Yeah, that's like anything, sports or basketball.
Anything, any of it. It's like five,
it's
less
like
than 5%,
something like that.
It's this is the other 97%. These kids these are 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. They didn't get scholarships. They weren't good enough, but they dedicated their life and believed that they were good enough to make their dreams come true. And this is what you see. This is what you see all over Hollywood. A bunch of kids working at Starbucks and whatever. They're 30 years old, 29 years old. Acting's not going to happen, but they moved out there following a dream, and the dream dies and they haven't realized it yet. And they're still living in Hollywood and still chasing a dream. And these kids still believe, 19 years old, out of high school.
Some of them been out of high school.
Right. Like they just were at home. Men, yeah. They're grown men, right? And they get this guy who can talk a good shit. He's got a Dragon Ball Z shirt on. This guy's a loser.
I mean, but like, but I feel like you have to be, well, obviously these are kids, so they're naive, but like,
right.
School, a coach contacted you through Twitter, was like, I'd have been like,
yeah,
I don't know about this. DM me?
This is
what?
You don't have something with your school's logo on it, a mail? You don't have mail?
DM me? It's like an egg as the fucking Abby. It's like, I don't know who this is.
Absolutely insane. So, but like that part made me sad because these are clearly kids who their dream fell through, right? Like they didn't get to go to Ohio State or Michigan or whatever. And then they get this call from this guy who's saying, no, I can make your dreams come. Your dream isn't over yet.
Yeah.
You still have a shot. And they were so excited to play that game. And he really made them believe he was putting them through hell. He was still having them like practice, but they were saying the practices weren't very organized. So they were not in any way prepared for this, even though he's telling them, you are prepared. We're making sure you're good enough. We have all the state of the art, whatever. Even though everything around them is to the contrary, he convinced them that they were ready for that game.
Yeah.
So imagine somebody telling you you're the best boxer in the world. And you go and you prepare and you get your hype up and you're like, yeah, man, I'm going to win the championship. I'm going to get the belt and be the best in the world. I'm going to make millions of dollars. I'm going to feed my family. These kids really thought like they had a chance.
It's like this school that they played.
They're like, if we win this game.
Top of the notch facilities, people in those fields or medical fields, teaching, whatever, are
5-star recruit. These are the kids that you're about to see on ESPN and ESPN2 for the next 4 years. These are the kids that are going to all the Big Ten schools. They have them on that team.
No chance.
But what's crazy is when he's talking, he's like, "Hey man, if Bishop Sycamore goes into that game and we win that game, whole different story. Everybody's talking about who's this team. Everything changes, whatever." And it's like that was never gonna happen.
No way.
It just was, and that's how delusional he is, though. He's like, "Hey, if it would have gone the other way, I'd be one of the most amazing stories in the country right now. I'd be at a college coaching a team, but it would have never happened."
Yeah, but the downfall with some of those kids are that those kids actually thought that they had a chance to be 5-star recruits.
Yes.
Before he recruited, like they wasn't playing anyway.
Yes.
And they would go like, "No, I'm nice. I should be playing somewhere." And so when somebody hit him up, it was like, "No, I should be." It's like, but some of these kids had to realize like, you won't be good enough. It's just that's just the reality of the world. Like it's people better than you that you may not be good enough.
And that's why it broke my heart, is because people deserve to have that realization behind closed doors. You should not have to realize that while your ACL is ripped apart.
Yeah. And
you're down 65-7 or what? I don't even think they scored. Did they score? I don't even know. But you shouldn't have to realize like, "Oh my God, I'm not good. I'm crazy."
Yeah. And shout out to that dude from what's the show the basketball show that we watched? The JUCO. What's that?
Oh shit, I love that.
Whatever that show is.
Yeah.
Shout out to the coach. I can't remember his name, but he'll be like
the black coach,
the black guy. He'll be like, "Hey man, I'm trying to go." He goes, "Nah, I don't."
Nah. Maybe Europe.
Straight up.
Maybe the Euro League.
He's
That's
not going to sell these dreams. He's not going to sugarcoat.
No.
Nah, man, you're not good. Look where you're at. You're not good enough, bro.
You're in a junior college. Like, you need to be hoping to get a D2 scholarship, finish school.
Yeah.
And maybe you could get a job being a hard-nosed defender. But again, this guy wasn't a coach.
No,
again, Bomani Jones made another point where it's like coach is like doctor or, officer. Like, when you're a coach for life. When, people still call their coach 20 years after they coached them.
Yeah.
And this guy was not a coach. He was not a leader of men. He was not an inspirational person. He was a con artist who blamed these kids. He had to walk off the set a couple times. He's cussing about the kids because the kid was crying.
Oh, yeah.
A hard-nosed inner city kid, 20 years old, looked like he could fight, looked like he's seen some shit.
Yeah.
Started crying because his dream, again, like that's fucking sad, bro. This kid realized on national television that his dream was dumb. And he still had to finish the game. And then go home and get on Twitter and be like, "Man, y'all are garbage men getting beat by kids. Kill yourself." He had to live all that. And in talking about it in this documentary, it got him choked up and he started crying.
Yeah.
He destroyed kids' dreams. And he's like, "This is bullshit, man. Let me walk off. These kids don't appreciate shit, man. I done fucking all the money I spent, this, that, and the third. I would." He'll never get it.
I think it's different. It's different when I think ruining a kid's dreams when they're like, 17, 18. But when you give a kid hope, when really there's no hope, and you sell them on something where it's like, "Hey man, you're 21, but you still have a chance." And it's like, come on, man. They go and moving back.
They already had let it go. They already had let it go a little bit.
Yes.
You remember? I mean, listen, we've been kids, man. I know plenty of kids that we interacted with where it's like they felt like they were good enough to go to college, but they didn't get the scholarships.
Yeah.
And now 18, 19, 20, you're still playing basketball intensely.
Yeah.
You're still like training and posting video because the dream is still alive.
Yeah.
Even though you don't have tape, you're not in school anymore. It just isn't gonna. Either you're gonna
not
get
even that. It's the age. You're past the age.
You're past the age to get.
Yeah.
College is out, so either you're gonna like a scout for the Denver Nuggets is just gonna be riding down this road and see you playing really hard against these other regular people and be like, "You're going straight to the league.
Yeah.
You're going straight to the pros." No, like you're not following your dream because you're not overseas like Pat Beverly and them grinding for the Croatian national team or whatever. Like if you're here at home still, being the big fish in the small pond, who gives a shit if you're the best dude playing at the elementary school? It's fun for us, like playing with dunking and shit. You yourself, friend, super good, right? But you were a dude who was you were not chasing a dream. No. You were good at basketball.
Well, it was like I'm 5'8" and I weigh 130 pounds. Like what? That's not realistic. I'm not gonna hit a growth spurt at 21. It's not gonna happen.
It's just the NBA is just not in your future. You know what I'm saying?
Bro.
So
I didn't hit the genetic lottery, bro. That's not gonna happen.
But there are dudes who are like, I'm good enough. And so that 17, 18, 19, 20 window is still, the dream is still alive. And that's where he comes and get them.
Yeah.
Their dream wasn't fully shattered, but you start to go, I mean, something amazing would have to happen for my dream to come true. So maybe I should maybe basketball, football is just a hobby. Maybe I could be a coach.
Yeah.
This is the things these kids are starting to think.
Yes.
And then this guy comes along and is like, no. It's not over. I'm going to get you on national television and you're going to go to the NFL or to a college.
Yeah.
And he hyped them up and made them believe that. It really is like really one of the most evil things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And the way he's laughing through the whole documentary, he is truly one of the most psychotic people I've ever seen in anything.
It was a dude at the beginning that was like his partner at first, and he was like, he was essentially out of the documentary at like 5 minutes. He was like,
yeah, because
he
he had 2 schools. He's like, I was out on the first school.
I'm out.
I realized real quick, like,
to build this whole empire. It was like, I'm out. I'm good.
So once I realized he didn't have any money, I was like, what do you think? Where do you think the money comes from to build a school? I'm out. He said something like, when I saw the game, I said, hey man, that crazy motherfucker's on TV. Imagine being the guy that didn't fall for the scam.
Yeah.
And then you're sitting at home, laid up, chilling, and you see the scammer on TV.
Yeah.
You're like, he fucking did it. This guy got on national television with a fucking playing against basically an NFL team.
Compared to them, yeah.
Compared to them, this is an NFL team. I mean, nice, crisp jerseys, state-of-the-art equipment, trainers and medical staff for when you get hurt. You know, you never think about that. But when they put it on, when they put it into perspective in the documentary, you go, you know, somebody gets hurt in a game and they're laying there and people just come out.
Yeah.
You're like, those are medically trained doctors. I don't think that. I'm just like, I don't know who's at the coach, people checking on them, patting on their stomach and stuff. Yeah. I don't know. And they didn't have any of that. Like they did. A kid's mom came out and just kind of stood there like, you okay?
Yeah.
Like they don't know what to do.
That's crazy.
They don't know to set your knee or put it up, elevate it. Like there's a kid is on the field with a torn ACL and you're supposed to have your own person. So yeah, I mean, it was absolutely bananas. BS High, it's on HBO Max.
Check it out.
Highly recommend.
Yeah.
It is a wild ride, man. This guy really made a whole fake school.
Yeah. But Bomani Jones said, he was like, you can't tell 18-year-old kids was like, if you tell them that they don't need to do work, they're not going to go, where's school?
Well, why?
Where's the books? They don't give a shit. They want to play football and that's it. That's it. Them kids was not giving a shit about school, books. They was like, nah, I want to play football and that was it.
Yeah.
It wasn't no school.
And, you know, I hate to like agree with the dude because he was such a psychopath and everything that he was saying was purely excuses. He's like, where does it say there's an age limit on football? And then they put a little chyron on the screen saying there's an age limit. The school says that. Well, who's the Ohio board of football? And they're like, the board that dictates all the rules for sports in Ohio. But one thing he said,
with those type of people.
No, because he's crazy. He's a crazy person. He's like, oh shit. So I guess there's an age. You gotta stop playing football at a certain age.
Yes.
You know, people that say shit like that, like it's not true. Like, oh, so I guess, you know, when the sun goes down, it's nighttime. You're like,
that's how it
man.
works. For centuries. What are you talking about here?
Oh, so if I touch fire, I get burned. Yeah, man. What the? Absolutely insane. But the fact of the matter is, at the collegiate level and at the high school level, a lot of people don't talk about this. Who knows how much money that school LeBron James went to? These kids are getting nationally televised, camera time, sponsorships. Money is being poured into these kids that they're not seeing.
None.
They're being exploited. And the question is the trade-off, is it a fair trade-off? And I'm asking you, that's not a rhetorical question. I'm asking you, like, if you go to a popular school that's going to be on TV and get camera time, and you get a chance to get a scholarship and get tape to send to schools and overseas teams if you want to play overseas or go to the NBA or go to the NFL, is it worth this school making $100 million a year off of the backs of kids if some of the kids get to make millions of dollars?
I think no, off of the backs of young kids, no. But I think high school is different, only because the college level, you know,
billions.
Right.
College is truly exploiting people.
Right. But they're in college.
But high school's creeping up.
College, they're seeing some of that money now.
Yeah.
You have your, what is it, name, image, and like, whatever that is.
Now.
But I think football, specifically football. I'm talking football. I don't think that's fair, because football is such a brutal sport.
You could be done.
School, you can be done in a step of a finger. You get hit in your knees. That's it.
And they'll bring another black kid with dreads,
and
or
you're out, and you lose
yeah.
whatever they use in high school scholarship. I don't know what the term they use to get into those schools.
Yeah,
you're done. Like there's no you can study here and then no. This is a football school, and that's really all we care about. So I think
if you can't provide your service, then you're out of here.
Exactly. So I think on the backs of high school kids, no, I would never put my son. My son wouldn't play football anyway, but I would never send my son to a school like that because I think that the training is probably super tough.
Yeah,
especially them being a football school.
They're trying to get everything. They want to win a championship.
Yes.
They're not worried about your future or what.
They'll help you, but after you walk out these doors, that's pretty much it. We've got you. We did our job to help you get where you need to be, and that's pretty much it. But I think that them high schools are making way too much money because all that money is going to the facilities, is going to the principal of the school, whatever director of sports, whatever it is. They're seeing all that money. It's going in a lot of pockets. It's going in a lot of pockets. They're getting the best high school coach they can possibly get. That's getting $1 million, $2 million contract to coach these kids. No, I'm not. No, it's not right.
Yeah, I think that I think that it's wrong. I think that I understand what it leads to potentially for 1% of the kids, but I think
also
that
depends though. What's the big picture though? Like, some kids can go, I'm not worried about the money, right? I'm in high school kid. What is the big picture? Especially if you coming from a low income city, family, or whatever. It's like if I have a chance to get to this is the blueprint of getting to the NFL.
Then that's what. That's what I mean. And that's basically what it is.
I'll make.
That's what I mean. Like a kid from the BS High documentary that went to that school can't get into the ING school. I like when you said about the show on Netflix, but I can't remember the name right now. But that they need more people like that. I hope they're seeing somebody to go, hey man, listen, you need to just finish school.
Yes.
Get the degree, and if you can. You're not good. Somebody needs to be able to go like, you're not good enough to be a starting whatever in the NFL or the NBA. You might have a chance to be a role player, but if that's the road that you're on, you need to get your degree.
Yeah.
Because if all else fails, you can go get you a job and make $70,000 to $120,000 a year and live a nice life. A lot of these kids end up at these junior colleges because they came from a high school where they averaged 35 points a game, got a scholarship to a D1, D2 school, weren't good enough at college level, and then also because they were so good at high school level, they think they're the best. Yeah. So why do I need to go to school? I'm a star.
Yeah,
and then you lose your scholarship and you end up at a junior college.
Yeah, like you said, I think that list of jobs for kids need to be updated. Also, another one need to be if you get a free scholarship, you need to take full. It's not just they get a scholarship, but it's like I think a lot of kids look at scholarships where it's just like I gotta pass this to get into a D1 school to play.
Yes.
Like, yeah, but it's like you also, if that don't work out, you need to study.
Yes.
Also,
you need to be picking your school.
Yeah.
What are you gonna study?
Yeah. By year one.
I know it's hard. I know it's hard to be a student athlete, but like if you're not a top 10 prospect, you shouldn't be looking at college like, I'm just go do 1 year and then go to the.
You would know year one that if you're good enough. You would know. You would be all over the meet. You would
know you're him.
You would know.
But that's the thing. I think sometimes people think they're him and there's no evidence of it.
No. But you get that scholarship, take advantage of it. You good for the whole 4 years. You good.
Sometimes that's the payoff. Like you got the scholarship. Sports is paying you.
Yeah.
Now you can go to school. You get connected to a network of people in positions. You play for a team and you're a good kid. You're a good kid, good student. Show up every day to practice, work hard, and now you got a degree in communications. You could be working at ESPN, writing or something. Like you can get a job and live a good life. But it's like either I got 30 million or I got nothing.
It's the lifestyle, bro. Ain't nobody gonna bring that up. But it's only a.
It's like, do you want to drive
like 10 people.
You want to drive a Kia Sorento like, and your bills are paid every month? They're like, nah, man, I want a gold chain.
It's like 10 players. It's like 10 players was like they're gonna make a ton of money, but it's like the other ones before that. It's like, bro, it's the lifestyle. You get there and it's like, shit, I ain't got my contract. I'm just chilling. It's like a lot of people won't admit that. It's like it's the lifestyle that those sports bring, other than me wanting to play fucking sport.
Yeah,
man, fuck that. You can go, like you said, you get a degree, whatever, business management, whatever, meet all type of networking, and then you can fucking drive a nice little Mercedes. You don't gotta be nothing crazy, man.
Drive a nice Benz, get you a 3-bed, 2.5 bathroom in a nice neighborhood, and just chilling out. Like, nah, man, I need a gated. I need millions of dollars.
Oh, man.
Like and I just want kids to get out of that mentality, man. And we need to help, and we need to show them, like, hey, man, how about you go get you a skill, you know. and play basketball. Enjoy, because I think sports builds discipline. I love sports.
Yeah.
I think sports are great, but like telling a kid that the only way for you to make a life for yourself and for your family is if you're making millions of dollars, it's putting a lot of pressure on a kid for one.
Yes.
And two, it's not unattainable, but it's really hard to attain.
Yeah.
And even if you're super good, you still might not make the league.
Yeah. Also,
even if you're super good, you still might not make it.
Yeah. I want Sophie to go in professional sports, but it's like, if they don't, that's fine. Because I'm not waking up at 6 a.m. to take them outside to do workouts. Yeah. It's not happening. I'm not doing that.
I'm not Richard Williams.
I'm not doing that.
You said I King Richard?
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. I'm not Tiger Woods' dad. We're not. No, it's not happening, bro.
I want my kids to love me. Like, I tell you what, no matter what, and behind every superstar athlete is a lot of resentment.
Yeah. Yep.
You know? I saw a video of Dwight Howard, not a nasty video because Dwight Howard's out here moving like a freak boy. But it was a video of him training his son in the gym. And his son was on like an elliptical machine and the kid was crying. And he's smacking him on his chest like, no, man, keep going. Give me 5 more minutes. No. But like, that's what he knows. Dwight Howard knows.
Yes. Yeah.
He knows what it takes to, and a lot of people were giving him backlash like he was being, I was like, listen, I'm not going to tell somebody who's in the NBA
can't question
what it takes to make somebody an NBA player.
A top player at one point too.
You just can't. You just can't. But that is what it takes. Yeah. You need to. Sometimes you got to train till you throw up. Sometimes you don't want to be out there and you're out there. And I don't want to do that to my kid. No. I want them to enjoy playing sports. I want them to have fun doing what they're doing. I don't want to be like, oh, you're gonna shoot that. That's not. You're never gonna get to the league playing like that. They lose a game, you come down on them. You know, because you have to build that mentality of like, you got to make a kid a dog.
Yeah.
You know, you got to make him a warrior. You got to make him tough and, you know, alpha to be, you know, athletes, sports full of people that are like, I'm the best in the room.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of good things about sports, but to be the best at a sport, I think you got to really corrupt kids. I think you got to really make them awful people in some ways. Obviously, there's athletes who are just good people and stuff. But you got to, even the ones, there's athletes that'll smile at you. But when it's between those lines and it's game time, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
Naomi Osaka seems like a really nice person.
Yeah.
You think she likes losing at tennis? You think she just happens to be good at tennis? The pathway for Naomi Osaka to get to where she got to, Coco Jones, was Coco Gauff.
Yeah.
That's her, right?
Who you talking
the girl,
about?
The tennis, the girl that plays.
The one that just, I know you're talking about. Yeah,
the young
Coco,
black girl that plays tennis, Coco Gauff.
Yeah.
Coco Gauff seems like a super nice girl.
Yeah.
You know, she stands up for herself. She seems like she comes from a good family. She's a dog.
Yep.
You know, when she was out there and that lady was trying to play her, she's like, "Oh, you're not allowed to sit down."
Oh, she knows the rules. Like, what is this?
Yeah, she's like, "I don't care. Well, that's the rules. You're not allowed to sit down." I'll be petty. I don't care. It's the rules. You're not getting an advantage over me. She hits the ball, knocks her out, screams. You know, fist. These are nice kids. These are nice girls. Dogs. You're not playing on national television. Just like, I don't know, if you win, you win. If you lose, it's just all about. That's not, people like that don't go pro.
No,
unless you're like, God was like here.
LeBron James. I don't think his mom was. I don't know, but there's tape where he was just like, he did AAU tournaments and he fucking ate bananas and fruits and shit like that. And it's like, it just was like, I don't think his mom was putting him through. And his mom was like struggling, so I don't think she was like.
I don't think she had time to be like, we're out on the court at 2:00 in the morning. Like, God said, hey, LeBron, here.
Yeah.
So when he goes out, just like, oh, flies in the sky, dunks. He's 16 years old,
and you work hard. That's it.
Oh no, let me make sure. Sometimes you're just so good that as long as you don't disrespect the craft,
yes,
it'll take care of you. But some people aren't.
Yeah.
Fran, if you would have made it to the NBA, and then we can wrap on this. Yeah. If you would have made it to the NBA, we wouldn't be friends. You would be the most like, oh, I'm always at the gym. Like, you're a 5'8", slender man. If you made it, you would be like a 3-point specialist or a lockup defender. The way you would be like a crazy. The game would have corrupted your brain.
Yeah, oh,
you would have been like,
you'd have been a my entourage for sure.
Okay, yeah, you're like, I see something in him. He could carry the bags. You know what I'm saying?
No, as long as you my yes man. Oh no, you got.
He's got a good head on his shoulders. Yeah. But yeah, you'd be like a nut, like a psychopathic dog, because you weren't given the
I'm glad
gifts.
I'm glad my dad wasn't that. Now I do talk to him, be like, hey man, I wish you to push me in something. Yeah, I wasn't talking about sports, but like push me.
But just in something. My mom was the same way. I'll be like, I want to play drums. I'm like, drums are hard. She's like, Don't go.
That's it. I'm going to practice today. I don't give a shit.
All right. That's what I mean. I love soccer. You know something? I don't like soccer anymore. All right. You want to call the coach and tell him you don't want to go to the game? Can you do it? I mean, I guess so. All right, cool. Go eat Rice Krispie treats and chill out. You know what I'm saying? Like, we gotta find the message of all this of BSI and everything is you gotta find a balance.
Yes.
Life's about balance. Push your kids to be great, but don't push them until you break them.
For sure.
Because imagine if your dad did do that to you and you don't make the pros, you'd be walking around angry.
Yeah.
If you feel like you missed out on stuff and you like spent all your time playing in tournaments and all this shit, and you don't.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. People need to look up. People look up a kid named Julian Newman.
Yeah, I would be at all LA Fitness fucking
mad.
Those people, we don't like. I don't like to be around because like, bro, we didn't make it, bro. We out here playing.
Yeah, man.
Relax.
I'm just trying to get a sweat in. I just got off work. You're like, man, it's arguing about the score. I dogged you. I'm the best. You're like, this is a Merit Athletic Club. Why are you screaming? Don't you have work in the morning? We all got work in the morning. None of it involves basketball. Right. This is a hobby. But anyway, before we take a quick break, I got a couple of quick shout outs to the people. Shout out to some amazing people who joined our Patreon. Real quick, we got a big shout out to Wendy S.I., another shout out to Erica, and we got another shout out to Zachary L. Shout out to Zachary L. People, October is coming up. It's right around the corner. That is when I get into my Culttober bag. Each week in the month of October, I will be going into a little dive into a cult that interests me. If you've been listening to the show for a while, you know that I'm fascinated with cults. And Culttober is when I put out a little, expose or a deep dive into a cult that I'm finding out about. I do some research about. I put some suspenseful music. It's when I get into my bag. It's when I get into my Keith Morrison bag. So if you haven't joined the Patreon, feel free to join over there. In the meantime, between now and next month, if you want to get some of that Culttober action. But thank you guys for supporting our Patreon. And Fran is working on some stuff in the background too.
Yeah, man.
We'll get that out to you guys soon.
We're gonna record some while
we're at CrimeCon. Also CrimeCon is this month. I didn't even thank you, Fran. Great segue. CrimeCon is this month. If you will be joining us in Orlando, please feel free to hit up our booth and say what's up and chat it up with us. We'd love to see you guys, talk to you guys, maybe get some drinks in the lobby or whatever. It was super fun. Last year was super fun. It was cool to we met people and interacted in the lobby and just getting drinks and shooting the shit, and everybody was super cool and everything like that. So I'm looking forward to that energy again. It's a great opportunity to meet and put faces to names that you see commenting on things and sharing episode information, just meeting the people that support you. So I think that's a really fun thing. Looking forward to that. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to get into some fucked up shit. So stick around. Affirmative Murder is brought to you by Rosetta Stone. Are you looking to get a leg up at your job at IKEA by learning to speak Finnish or whatever floopy-doop language they speak so you can sell more furniture? Or maybe you're trying to figure out what cute and infectious and adorable things BTS are saying on all their red carpet interviews. Well, then I think Rosetta Stone is for you. Rosetta Stone is the most trusted language learning program, hands down. Rosetta Stone teaches you through immersion. So instead of memorizing and drilling vocabulary words into your brain, you learn by matching audio from native speakers, from visuals to reading stories, participating in dialogues, and other practical language skills which help you fast-track your ability to communicate fluently. Rosetta Stone offers 25 languages from Spanish to French, Italian, German to Chinese, Korean, and Japanese, and even Dutch, Arabic, and Polish. And right now they're offering a lifetime membership. You can buy the program now and get it forever. That's right, you will forever have access to all the lessons for all the languages and literally never pay a renewal fee. The focus of this program is preparing you for real, authentic conversations, not just knowing a couple of phrases. So if you find yourself, in Switzerland on top of a mountain at a random bar, and you want to convey to them that I'm hungry, but I don't want to eat any of the animals that I've seen on my trek up this mountain, do you have any vegetarian options? You will be able to do that without causing a scene or disrespecting your waiter, and potentially having Swiss spit in your beer. So don't put off learning that language any longer. There's no better time than right now to get started. And for a limited time, Affirmative Murder listeners can get Rosetta Stone's lifetime membership for 40% off. That's $179 for unlimited access to 25 language courses for the rest of your life. Just go to rosettastone.com/today and start learning a new language today. Avito Sane. Affirmative Murder is brought to you by Drizzly. Hosting a summer barbecue? A backyard movie night? A slip and slide party? Whatever you're hosting, don't do it without Drizzly, your go-to app for drink delivery. With Drizzly, you can shop local stores and compare prices on beer, wine, and spirits, then get them delivered to your door. Boom, hosting handled. Now, before you get back to folding napkins, download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com. That's Drizzly, DRIZLY.com today. Must be 21 and not available in all locations. All right, and we are back. Fran, this episode has been weeks in the making. We have not we have not been able to get time to do this one, and we finally have gotten time to sit down, get our research done and properly and everything like that, and we are now ready to deliver a doozy of a story. Before we get into it, what were your thoughts in the process of doing the research for this one?
I for some reason I thought we did this before. I don't know. I think I found this on TikTok, right? Is that send this one to you? Or?
Yeah, I think you sent me. I think
something like that.
One of us. Did
and
that.
I said, I feel like I know. I've seen the lady in the story, and I was like, I remember her face from somewhere, but I just couldn't. I'm like, I know I've seen the story before, but we never did a deep dive into it. So when I finally got a chance to, which is the funnest part, when you get to deep dive and watch videos and shit, just trying to put everything together. I went. It was one of those. I'm sure we'll get into it, but it was one of those things where conversations that we'll have where it's like, who's in the right and who's in the wrong type of conversation where it's just like, do you agree with what they did or don't?
I'm interested once we lay everything out in the end. I'm interested. I think we should I would like to try to save any opinions to the end.
All right.
Just so we can lay it out. I don't want to sway anybody that's listening. I want to lay it out, and then I want to hear your thoughts, and I'll give my thoughts like at the end once everything's fully laid out.
Yeah.
So anyway, our affirmative murder this week is the story of Catherine and Curtis Jones. At the time of this story, they were the youngest people to be convicted of first-degree murder ever in the country. I'm sure that's changed since then, but at the time of this story, they were the youngest. So here we go. Let's get into it. Catherine and Curtis Jones were a pair of Dutch twins. I looked this up, Fran, because I don't know if people find Irish twins to be offensive, and I didn't want to be offensive. I don't know if this is offensive to the Dutch, but I just never heard it before. I think Irish twins, there's some connotation to like Irish people being drunk, and that's why. But anyway, a Dutch twin or an Irish twin is kids that are born like within a year of each other.
That's the term that is used?
That's the term. Irish twins, Dutch twins.
What is the other term? Whereas like,
I don't know.
Whereas like,
fraternal twins.
Okay, that's the.
They are born. They're literally twins. They just don't look alike.
Right. Okay.
It's two separate eggs.
Okay.
So identical twins, one egg split. Right. Fraternal twins, two eggs drop down in that thing, and then you got two babies that are just different babies, which is crazy to me. The human body is crazy. Women's body specifically.
When I see videos of like they have like identical twins festivals, I go, that's creepy. As
that's
shit.
creepy. I would never go to that.
they're like 80 and they still dress the same.
No. If you are over the age of 5 years old and y'all are dressing up every day, putting the same clothes on, something's wrong with you guys.
Oh, you can't say that, man.
They always say we have telepathy, or we always finish each other's sentences. Like they're always playing games with people. Yeah. Twins they're obnoxious. Okay, twins are obnoxious. Their whole personality is twins.
But they don't have to do that though.
It's like pickle girls. Like, girls are like, I eat pickles. I'm so crazy. Like everything about me. I wear pickle shirts. Like I'm crazy. I'm like such a pickle girl. No, you just eat pickles. Y'all just were born on the same day and y'all are the same person. Like, let it go.
Man, stop.
You're 29.
Don't you share the twin?
No, not at all. I like being one-on-one.
I get that.
I don't want some other person that's next to me is like, no, I think that too.
He's like Alvin Williams.
It's Alvin and Smalvin or Alvin and Calvin or whatever.
Alvin and Malvin.
Alvin and Malvin. Look, I don't want that shit. Get out of here. I'm always arguing about somebody about who's older. Like, I was born at 105. You were born at 107. I'm the big brother. No, man, that seems insufferable. My father was out there doing his thing in the world, but my mom had one child.
Yeah.
I'm an only child. I couldn't picture my life there being somebody next to me all the time being like, well, that's my toy. And man, no, listen.
I mean,
Malvin.
From the stories I hear from like when you was a kid before I met you, two of y'all, oh man.
Oh, it would have been crazy. My mom would be homeless. We would put holes in the walls. We would kicked out of every like tenants. We couldn't be tenants anywhere. It's just crazy. I was like Dennis the Menace. Yeah. There's all these different templates of kids. There's the problem child, and then there's like a kid that's like a bad kid. Yeah. But see, Dennis the Menace was nice.
Yeah.
He would come over, hey, Mr. Wilson, how you doing? Oh, what's this, bubble gum? And then he eat the bubble gum, blow a bubble. That bubble gets in Mr. Wilson's hair. He's got to call his hair out. But he was nice. I was a nice kid. I just would be like, oh, look, a baseball. And I'd pick it up and throw it in my hands. You know, you throw it up, and then the third time I throw it, and it goes all the way up to the ceiling, goes through the ceiling, gets stuck in the ceiling, hits a pipe, the pipe bursts, and your bathroom floods.
Shaq, come over my house, break my hoop. Just got it.
All right, man, let it go.
I can't let that go, man.
It was
I don't care.
Actually, like 20 years ago.
I don't care. I just got that hoop. I knew you was coming over. I'm gonna get a new hoop so we can hoop. Came in, thought you were Shaq, man. Thought you would come here like Shaq, the logo on his shoes. That's how you dunked on my hoop. Feet hanging. You can't hang on the.
I tried to hang on a door.
You can't hang on a rim that I had taped to the wall. I had taped to the wall. You tried to hang. You were like a good. What were you like a good 100, like almost 200?
That was a good 120, something like that.
Like you tried to hang on a hoop that I had duct tape to the wall, man. Broke it. Ruined the whole weekend. I wanted you gone after that, man. I said, is your mom coming to get you?
When is your mom coming back? I'm like, she just left. She just drove down the road. Like, God, man, I gotta feed you. Get out of my house. That was the Alvin effect. I would go to people's house. They're like, I do something terrible. Now you got a grudge against me the whole. Yeah, you're like, I'm like, and do you guys have any? Now I'm asking for shit. Like, do you guys have any food? You're like, I don't want you to do anything for you. Get out. All the plans now have animosity towards. Like, I was gonna take you and my son. You're his cousin. I was gonna take y'all to the movies. Now it's like, I don't want to buy you a movie ticket. Come here, break my precious vase. Step all on my flowers in my yard because you want to do cartwheels in the front yard. You step on, kill all the roses, and you want me to go buy you popcorn? Go home. I think you're gonna go. And then my mom would magically be like, I thought I could stay till Sunday. She's like, yeah, I know, but we're gonna go home. I'm like, oh man. I guess we have to do something at home. I never had any questions. I'm like, I guess something came up and I can't spend the rest of the weekend. I never had any questions as to why the weekend always was cut short. I'm like, oh man, I wish I could stay. My cousin's mom is standing at the steps like, yeah, me too, but here's your bag. See you never. Go. You gotta get the hell out. I don't know where you're going, but go fuck somebody else's house up. Get out. So anyway, that was our rant on Dutch twins. So Catherine and Curtis Jr. were born to Curtis Sr. and Stacey Parks. And they were, Catherine was the older sister. She was born in 85, and then Curtis came the following year in 86. Catherine and Curtis's childhood was far from idyllic because the entire family suffered relentless abuse from their father. So much so that their mother, Stacey, eventually fled the home, leaving her children behind under the threat of violence from Curtis if she tried to take them. Stacey made her way back to Kansas, where her family resided. Her family allegedly never approved of her relationship with Curtis because Stacey, was a white woman and Curtis was a black man who met when she was working at KFC, and she gave him some food and he spit her some game, and then
rizzed her up.
He bagged her off the spicy extra crispy. And then within a year he got her pregnant. But within a year he was already abusing. It was already an abusive relationship. He trapped her really quickly and then got her pregnant. So this guy's a real piece of shit.
I remember rizzing somebody up off a bucket of chicken.
But also, she's like 17 years old. It's like, if you have a car and you have money to buy a chicken, you're doing pretty well in the pool of boys that she's dating. So like I said, her family never really approved of her relationship. So him being an abuser only added fuel to the anti-Curtis fires. So when she shows up back in Kansas and is like, I had to get away, I had to leave the kids behind, but I want to bring them back. They were like, we don't do mulatto babies here. So they were very anti her kids.
Oh shit! Okay, I didn't see that.
But,
I didn't see that much.
Yeah, but she was in a hard spot. So
man,
she had to leave her kids behind.
Imagine being in that predicament where it's like, okay, I have to get out of here for my own health and
safety,
wealth, and it's like I got to leave my babies behind. It's like that's a tough decision you have to make.
But now imagine you have so some people don't have a support system. Yeah. But imagine you get to your support system and they're like, we're kind of that thing where we're racist, so you can stay. So you can leave them where they are.
I thought usually having mixed grandbabies kind of changes
That's the tale of today, but this is 86. I've seen a lot of movies and TV shows where it's like I was a Hell's Angel and a severe racist. Yeah. And then my son brought home a little curly-haired creamy light skinned
And then it was
baby,
time-
and
it was
now
time-
it just made my melt heart. It made my heart.
Trying to burn my white robe and my Confederate flag, and it was.
And so yeah, I used the fire from my burning my robes to melt my cold heart, and now I love my little light skinned baby.
Little black babies.
All kind of beautiful stories are happening in today's world, but in '86, it was like I'm racist and you're wrong. Like you did something
That's
wrong.
not that long ago.
Why'd you have? Bro,
If you would have said
listen.
like,
The world's a different place than what
For
we've
sure.
talked about this, bro.
Yeah.
2010, there were people who were saying shit that you would never say today.
Oh yeah.
People just talk different, walk different. The world was different. You get away with different stuff.
It's completely different. Yeah.
And that's only 13 years ago.
That's
So
true.
86 was like, a whole different world. So she had no family support. She moved out to Kansas. Wasn't really in a position to bring her kids out there because her family disapproved of everything about her life and her family, which is, I hear all these stories about Thanksgiving and people being like, my white uncle gets drunk and he talks about politics, or, politics is just code for racist shit today.
Yeah,
But like my uncle talks about politics.
Oh, racist shit? Yeah.
Your uncle says he hates Mexicans and you're saying he gets political at Thanksgiving. But anyway.
He comes with like a Build the Wall shirt on. It's like, what is?
Yeah, you're like, it's a shirt made of bricks. You're like, this is crazy. Like, nah, I live and die for this shit. But anyway, it's like, so we just let him do his thing. I don't know. I don't really talk to him. But like, your kids? But yes, I agree. Nah, fuck him and leave.
I'm gone.
Leave Thanksgiving.
I'm not just like, where's the macaroni? I'm not paying him anymore. Where's the food?
Yeah.
Like,
I get it, Uncle Frank. I know. Build that wall. I get it. But like, now it's your kids.
Yeah.
You're talking about your kids. Like, they disapprove of your Uncle Frank is saying your kids are an abomination. I'm leaving Kansas. I will I'm gonna do it on my own in Kansas. I'm not gonna. I don't want to be a part of this. If you, these are my kids. I birthed these kids. These are my children, and you're saying, nah, we don't really. They're not welcome here. Then I'm not welcome here. So I think she just reached a breaking point where she said, he's gonna kill me. I have to go. And I'll figure it out as we get into. She figures she gets herself situated. She comes back. Yeah. So which we'll get into. But a few months after their mother had left the house in 1989, Curtis Sr. was charged with second-degree murder for shooting 2 men at a pool hall. The children were sent to live with Curtis Sr.'s mother in Alabama, but the charges were eventually dropped after it appears that the shooting was in self-defense. He wasn't in jail for long, and the children were eventually returned to his care. Now, Fran, I would love to get your thoughts on this. So, like, self-defense or not, the trauma of taking 2 lives probably has, that probably has on a person's psyche. Like, I don't think that they should be giving kids back immediately without proper psychological evaluations. I don't know if you're ready to take care of kids again after you murk 2 people, whether it was justified or not. Like, I know we joke a lot on this podcast about, people breaking in and what I would do. Yeah. And, if I had to stab a guy, like he breaks into my house, I'm protecting my family, and I stab a guy and he dies in my house, I don't think I'm just okay. Like, it was him or me, and self-defense, and I didn't get in trouble. The police said it was a justified killing, and, I'm just fine. You killed a person. I think that would it would make my hands shake. It would affect me. What do you think? Do you think that's like, what do you think? I mean, obviously you've never done it, but like, you think you'd be okay
after like killing somebody?
Yeah. Fully justified. Like I'm saying, fully justified.
If somebody comes to my house and no. I may be traumatized of like, maybe yes in a way.
I mean, the action of it. Yeah,
Because somebody broke my house before, held me at gunpoint. I told this a while ago, if somebody missed that. But I still come in the house, cut on every light, and I still look behind the doors. So
right.
That trauma is still with me.
There's a trauma to it.
And I still deal with it. So yeah, I'm sure it'll affect anybody. Doesn't matter what, justified or not, what's the situation, and somebody come in your house, you protecting your family, I think you still deal with that every day. It's just,
you still murdered a person.
You don't, that just don't go away.
Yeah. Seeing the life leave somebody,
like,
it was.
I think about that. I could have died that day, like, and you.
It was a deadly situation that I came out of the other end of.
So I think that would definitely affect me, no matter if whatever however bad the situation was. I think that still sticks with you. And for me, yes, like if I stab somebody dies in my house on my floor. Oh no, you still living? You still gotta walk past that spot
now,
every day?
this was at a pool hall. So let me just there is a difference in that regard. But still, you killed
But
two
now
people.
if you're crazy though, if you're crazy, it's like I wasn't
That's my
charged,
point.
and it doesn't matter.
That's my point. My point is, if you are able to go, yeah, man, bring my kids back. They are dead as fuck and piss on their graves. You guys want to get some ice cream? Not that I don't think he was a good dad, so I don't think he like got them back and went on to take them to the park and push them down slides, and he just continued to be like a bad person. And it didn't affect whatever his baseline of fatherhood was. It didn't affect it. But I feel like if it doesn't affect you, you are severely mentally ill. If you can kill two people and just move on with your life, I think I don't know. I feel like there's something wrong.
Was it self-defense?
That's what they found it to be. That
maybe he was just like, it was self-defense. I was protecting myself, and that's it. I had to do what I had.
Hey, I'm sure, but I don't know if I'm ready to take back on two kids again after that. I need some time, or not even me. I feel like it shouldn't be up to you. I feel like the state that took the kids after he was charged should go, hey man, you got to go to some classes. We got to make sure your mind's right before we place two small children back into your care.
Maybe he was like, I don't want to do that to my kids. I mean, they should be here with me.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm fine. And they were like, well, he said he's fine. So anyway, here you go.
You have him back.
He kills two people in self-defense. His kids are taken away to be in the care of his mother for a brief moment, and then he gets them back. 4 years later, in 1993, their mother had returned to Florida, which is where they were, after seemingly setting up a new life on her own in Kansas. And she came to Florida, took the kids out of school, and like went on the run. Curtis Sr. had her arrested, and she was charged with a third-degree felony for interfering with custody. The children were returned to their father, and the charges were dropped against their mother. And so I guess in exchange, he was like, I'll drop the charges if you just bring the kids back. But this shows...
Is this... By him doing that, and we'll get deep into the story, is he doing this in spite of her not having the kid? But like, if you're going to treat these kids bad,
why have
them? Is this just like I said, in spite of her?
It's
so
control.
She won't have them, so she won't have anything to do with them. And
they're my kids. Fuck you. I'm sure it's a lot of that. I don't know if they were
selfish, man. That's just
getting checks. They could have been, maybe they were financially beneficial, like they were getting some kind of check from the state for them. I don't know if that's the case. I think this is just a dude who's controlling and abusive, and these are my kids, and they stay with me. If you want to leave me, you fucking leave. But my kids stay with me because fuck you. I think that's who Curtis Sr. is. So I don't think this was anything like he thought he was doing a good job or whatever. Because we'll get into the twist, or not even a twist, but where this goes is so disgusting. And I'd love your thoughts as a parent when we get there. But you know how this starts to progress, and it's like unbelievable. So anyway, that same year of 1993, a family member was charged with molesting his girlfriend Sonia Spates' daughter, and did some jail time. Upon his release on molestation charges, that family member began living with Curtis Sr. and his children. So this guy gets out of prison on child molestation charges. The charges were against your girlfriend's children, and you then take that family member. We're not family anymore. But you take that family member and you move them into your house where you have young children. If I find out that you're a child molester, we're not friends, I don't know you anymore. You certainly cannot be around my children, and you cannot be in my residence. So that tells you, if anybody had any questions about like why is he holding on to these kids so tight, obviously because he's a controlling, abusive person. But if anybody went, well, maybe he loves his kids. You can't. There's no way you love your kids. A rumor, Fran. If I heard a rumor like, yeah, he was dating this girl and she had a kid and they broke up because she said she got a weird vibe. I'm not letting you be around my kids. He was charged and sent to prison.
Again, they don't know if it was, obviously the guy's a family member, but they don't know if it was financially why he let him stay there, or was it just
why?
But that doesn't even matter. It's like,
right.
If it's just a rumor. If it's a rumor, it's something close to that. It's in the vicinity of you you touching kids or something.
Smoke is fire.
So
Yeah.
Nah, man. It's like, but he doesn't care though. It's like, and that's my point of like, why is he doing so much to take his kids away from the mom? Where it's just like, you letting the child molester come in your house with your young kids, and you just don't care. That's like, come on, like that doesn't even make sense.
It doesn't at all. And I again, it's like, okay, let's say the rent was $1,000 and he's giving
that
you
doesn't even
$300 a
matter.
month. So what? Like he's
no,
a child.
Hell no.
He's a child molester. Like, what are we talking about?
But that's his. Again, that's his family member. He probably like that shit's not true. That guy probably was like, man, that shit's not true, dog. Like it's not.
That's Trevor, man. That was some bullshit. But again, how can you say that when the child is your girlfriend's child and the girlfriend is living in the house too, but she doesn't have custody of her kids because they're being raised by her mother. So now the mother's forgiving you. The father, Curtis Sr., is letting it slide. And there's 2 kids in the house at full time who have to deal with being around this guy who's just got out of prison on child molestation charges. For whatever reason, he's the guy he has to stay with. Curtis Sr.'s house is the only house this guy can stay at.
Prison.
Probably, yeah, stay in prison. Probably because everybody else went, I'm not letting a child molester stay at my house. And Curtis Jones Sr. was the only person that went, cuz.
No, I got you.
You can stay with me. It has to be bro. They say family member. They never identify him because of whatever reason. But
he definitely wasn't. He wasn't a minor because he wouldn't have went to prison.
Right. So it has to be brother. It has to be some kind of closer familiarity than cousin.
Yeah.
Because it's just, why would you do?
Just stay. Hey man, you come live here. Just stay in your room. Lock the doors. Don't come out. Kids around.
That's crazy. Like, you know what I mean? That's crazy.
Got some boundaries.
I set up some boundaries. I told him,
he can't come to our house between 3 when they get out of school and 8 when they go to bed.
Yeah. We got off at 6, so they're home in that latchkey kid time from like 2:30 to 5:30. A great time for me. Had a lot of I was such a fun latchkey kid. Oh, my house was the spot. But it wouldn't have been the spot if there was some creepy uncle or whatever hanging out. He would have fucked the vibes up. Anyway, sometime in 1994, DCF was contacted after Curtis and Catherine visited their mother in Kansas. Curtis was about 8 years old at the time, which would make Catherine about 9 years old. They were a year apart. And he told his mother that the family member, who we've been talking about, who was sharing their home, and specifically his room, was touching him inappropriately. So he tells this to his mother, free in Kansas, free, from under the thumb of Curtis Sr. He expresses himself. Once he returns to Florida and DCF follows up to speak with the family there, the 8-year-old started telling a different story. Probably as Curtis Sr. stood there with his arm on his hand on his shoulder and telling him that, nah, what are you talking about? He made that up. So, which is, I don't know, it's just so sad. Like, I got a lot of Gabriel Hernandez vibes. I remember that trial of Gabriel, or Fernandez, I think it was Fernandez. Gabriel Fernandez, I want to say, on Netflix, the kid who was his mom and his stepdad, like, abused him to death, but the protective services kept coming out. And they take pictures of him and see the conditions of the home, and they just never did anything. Now, I wouldn't say DCF didn't come out a ton of times, but they came out a couple of times.
At least 3. They came out at least 3 times.
At least 3 times, and every time there was rumors of assault, and they never had any proof, could never prove anything. But come on.
Why
man.
can't there be some type of investigation period where it's just like, we'll take them. I don't know. Now this has something to do with staff and financial, and I get all that. But I mean, like, why can't there be a program where it's like, okay, when there's a claim,
remove them.
We take them for a period of investigation time, and then we investigate, and then if things come up clear, then they go back, and if not,
do you go back?
Either extend it or we keep them away. Like, why can't it be
right? But you make some kind of list too. Like, we've now done all of that, and we'll be back randomly. Yeah, like we'll be back periodically to just check in. If you've had, because 3 reports of somebody going, yeah, this kid's been touched or said they've been touched, or we're just going to say it's a lie. Like, somebody false call, somebody wanted to be, their mom's a bitch, whatever the thing is. Like, come on, man. They're saying the kid was touched. I don't know. But again, within the trial of Gabriel Fernandez, the documentary on Netflix, there was a bunch of stuff about staffing and
I get that.
Bureaucratic shortcomings and all this stuff. And it's an overworked system, and there's a lot of, I get all that. But we're talking about kids.
Yeah.
Right? So again,
money,
Curtis,
that shouldn't matter. Like, it shouldn't matter.
We gotta figure it out.
Jeff Bezos is worth billions of dollars. It says like these people worth billions of dollars, and it's like we can't find money to like fund these.
You can't pay somebody an hourly rate to go to a house.
What is going on? I just don't. I can never wrap my head around that. I don't understand how one person individually could be worth so much money.
Yeah.
And we can't find the money to fund these programs.
Well, we'll never come together as a society to figure it out, Fran, because the way that the media works is they got us arguing about who has more money, Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk, who has more money, Jay-Z or P. Diddy. We're having arguments as people who are struggling to pay rent about who is a real billionaire. And
I don't care.
We're like, that's really
I don't care.
But a lot of the world, a lot of society does, and it's like
nobody needs
the way
that much,
that they so easily
needs $1 billion. Nobody needs.
It makes me sometimes I sit back and I don't like to talk like this on podcasts because I don't want to get found randomly in my car dead from smoke inhalation, and there's no smoke in the car. But the way that
it's
the media
now.
is,
if it happens, we have it on record.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but the way the media is so easily able to manipulate people when there's like a war in Ukraine and all these trillions of dollars are being sent there, and they're just like, man, did y'all see this dress? Is it yellow or is it blue? And that controls the media cycle for weeks. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a bombing in Aleppo and all these kids are killed, and they're just like, man, would you rather date Travis Scott or Harry Styles? And the world is just like Twitter arguments, and everybody's just distracted, and it's fascinating. Did you try this new food from Trader Joe's? And it's like truly horrible things happening in the world, and they're able to just like throw a ball, and we're like dogs. We just look over there and we're looking for a ball that they didn't throw so easily. It really is like, you know, society is it's a lot of puppets. It's a lot of puppets, and the strings are being controlled. And when dark stuff happens in this world, they're able to go. But look over here, though.
Yeah.
Remember when J.P. Morgan they had a boat full of cocaine, and I don't think anybody went to prison. That just kind of went away. Also, Barack Obama's chef died in his backyard.
Like
his lake.
It's like
that
his second.
died?
That's what this is what I heard. Like this is like his second.
Hey man, you know something? Hey,
it's like his second.
Curtis Jones.
It's like his
Curtis
second chef
Jones,
that
let me
has
find
died, and like nobody knows like nobody knows why.
So the DCF was.
Scratch that from the record. Scratch.
Yeah,
I never said that.
Let me make a time stamp at 1 hour and 20 minutes. So apparently there was social worker abuse happening, and apparently there was abuse happening, and the social workers weren't following through or couldn't prove anything. And there was another time when the DCF was called when Curtis had shown up to school with a black eye. Once again, abuse was suspected and noted, but nothing was followed up on. So there's multiple occasions where these kids are showing up abused or telling stories, and DCF is coming out, but they're not really following through with anything. So at this point, there are clear indications that the home situation is at the very least questionable and concerning. There are murmurs. There are murmurs at the very least at this point. The traumatic home situation proceeded for Curtis and Catherine for a number of years until on September 22nd, 1998, 13-year-old Catherine ran away from home. According to DCF documents, a teacher at Space Coast Middle School told child welfare workers that she suspected Catherine was being sexually abused at home by the family member. This was years in the making. And who knows how long it was happening. Well, we get some indication because Catherine goes on later in life to speak about it. But like before this teacher said anything, years this could have been happening. So state investigators reported finding some indicators of physical abuse and sexual molestation. Unfortunately, Catherine denied the molestation when approached by DCF and returned home. So again, the hand on the shoulder of Curtis Sr. being like, what are you guys doing on my doorstep? We're fine. This is a family, right, baby? And she's like, yeah, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
I just ran away from home because I was being a bad kid or whatever he told her to say.
Also, what also plays a part is that her brother's there. Not being separated could also play a part where it's like, now if I say this,
they might take me out.
Leave my brother here. And I would be the same way. I would go, I'm not leaving my brother here. Especially what we dealing with in here, I'm not leaving my brother here. It's not happening. For sure. My mother did that to us. I'm not doing that to him. Yeah, for sure. So that's a good point, friend. So investigators closed the case after offering parenting and counseling services, which Catherine's father declined. Yeah.
Obviously. He's like, what am I gonna go to a class where y'all tell me I'm abusing my kids? I already know that. She would later say that her father intimidated her into lying. Catherine also went on to say in an interview that he did everything but penetration when speaking about the family member. She told this to Florida Today. She said the family member in question, she said it wasn't rape, but it was touching and fondling and oral sex. Trigger warning here. It's graphic. I don't mean to be graphic, but these are her words, and she spoke her story, and she deserves to have her story told. She said he would make me perform oral sex to the point where I would throw up. And she's a child. This is a young child. The only person she could turn to for comfort and understanding was Curtis Jr., who knew personally what Catherine was experiencing because he was also a victim.
Why wasn't he identified?
But they said like he was never proven to be guilty of doing anything to them. But I would assume you could look him up in the charges
his previous charges, right?
But exactly. But I don't know. Nobody's identifying his name for you to be able to look his name up. So there's all this terrible stuff happening to Catherine and Curtis, but there was one incident that finally propelled them to stand up and fight back. Days after the Department of Children and Family Services closed their investigation into sexual abuse against the Jones children, Catherine was in the shower when the male relative bursted into the bathroom, ripped open the shower curtain, and stared at her. Catherine says, he started masturbating while I was in the corner of the shower crying. When he was done, the relative left 50 cents on top of the toilet seat. Almost like it was like a service. Like it was a service. Like thank you for that. I appreciate it. Here's 50 cents. Go get yourself some candy. You know? Which is it's already incredibly degrading, but to pay somebody for violating them, it's throwing salt in the wound. So this is a really awful person. And the father is the most awful because he facilitated this. After multiple instances of DCF coming to the door and saying, hey, we're getting reports that there's something awful happening here. And he ignored it every time.
No, he ignored it.
He just didn't care. And on top of that, there was a report that Sonia, whatever her last name, her kids, lived with their grandmother for most of the time. But this year, in 1998, they moved in for a little bit of time. Like they stayed with them for a couple of months. So the kid, one of the kids, at least of Sonia's, was molested by this man, and they brought them into the house too. So now a kid who actually there's 3 kids who've been molested. At least she had 2 kids. I don't know about the other kid being touched, but one of the kids was touched by him. So now you have 3 kids under one roof who've been molested by one person who is not on a lease, not a homeowner or whatever. He is a guest in the home, and he has molested 3 children under one roof. So according to Catherine, she says, that's when I started writing in my journal that I'm going to kill everybody. She recalls saying that's how it happened. It was everything was a buildup, but that instance, after that incident happened, I was like, this is done.
For a child to be that young and
13 years
idea
old.
of like wanting to kill somebody, like you
kill everybody.
It's like, where did he get that from?
Broken. They've been pushed. The only way they see out is if these people don't exist anymore.
That's scary, man.
It's sad. It's sad because it really speaks to how broken they were. They didn't see there was nobody. They didn't see their mom coming. There was nobody. The DCF keeps coming and not getting us out of here. So I don't think they saw any other outlet for them to be removed together, like you said, for them to both be removed from the house safely. Because they weren't going without the other one. Neither of them was going without the other one. So for the next few months, things seemed to get worse. Catherine said that she and Curtis planned to escape their abusive situation by killing the 3 people enabling it. The male relative, their father, and Sonia Spates. Catherine formulated a plan to carry out the murders with Curtis Jr., and they agreed on the murder weapon, which would be their father's 9mm semi-automatic pistol. They also decided on their first victim, Sonia Spates. Some time passed, but at the top of the year, of the new year, on January 6, 1999, Sonia and Curtis Jr. found themselves at the table at the dinner table at home while their father was away. While sitting at the dinner table across from Sonia Spates working on a jigsaw puzzle, the family member was supposedly en route to come home as well. Curtis Jr. sat across from Sonia with the 9mm pistol gripped in his lap, hidden under the table. And we actually have a clip, Fran, that you wanted to play, that where Catherine details what happened next.
On January 6, 1999, their attack began.
He was in the kitchen and I was sitting at the table. I already knew it was fixing to happen. We had already talked about it, and she was sitting at the other dining room table. And he shot her in the chest. And she tried to grab the phone, and I went and took the phone.
Curtis fired the gun several times at Nicole until she wasn't moving anymore. But his sister could see him trembling with fear and shock, so she took the gun and fired the last 2 bullets at the patio. Then she cleaned the gun.
I actually took the fingerprints off the gun and wiped it down. And I told my brother that he got hysterical. He had an emotional breakdown because, once again, this is reality now. This isn't some idea that's in our head anymore. This is reality.
That is a part that I think is important. Again, I don't want to touch on any of that kind of stuff till the end, but, you know, she says out of her own mouth that after this was done, they took the gun. She took the gun. She cleans the gun. So I think that's important to note. Just the scene and the coldness, and, you know, those things are important to know. But so she does that and shoots Sonia Spates, and then takes the gun from Curtis and cleans the gun off. So looking back, Catherine says that she knows the plan, especially starting with Sonia, made no sense, and that she should have focused her intentions on the abusive family member. But this is a 13-year-old brain, and just like everybody in this house is mean and hurting us, and so we're gonna do it. Whoever comes up first. I think they saw an opportunity and they took it to stop one of the 3 people they felt was responsible for this happening. But she says in her adult brain, we should have just killed the guy who was doing the abuse. Hindsight is 2020.
But I mean, like, she was part of the problem. I mean, like, I
sure.
get
everybody
them,
was.
We should have went after the main person, but they all played a part in this.
They all enabled it. They all were enabling
it. If I'm them,
they all knew about it.
I mean, this might be terrible to say, but I'm like, all y'all, I got the opportunity. I mean, like, fuck that.
Yeah, because nobody else. I don't see anybody else getting me.
You
out
ain't
of the
helping,
situation
so
but
it's
us.
like you only a part of the problem.
Yeah, so for sure, it's messy. We will, of course, put a pin in that about feelings until we finish. But yeah, this is very, it's a complicated one, and it's sad, and it's just like nobody wins, and it's just really fucked up. But anyway, so what happens next is kind of not fully known, but at some point, Curtis raised the weapon and started firing at Sonia. Catherine admits to taking the gun from Curtis and also firing at Sonia and then wiping the gun off. The gun was shot a total of 9 times, and Sonia was hit with 4 bullets. Catherine said Curtis started shaking and crying, which she said in the clip. And the children dragged the body to the bathtub, leaving behind a trail of blood. They poured bleach on the carpet and the floor. So that shows, so far we've heard planning, intent, and an attempt to cover things up. This is a 13 and a 12-year-old child who have been severely abused. According to reports, they ran from one friend's house to another, saying that they shot Spates by accident. That's also shows intent. When parents of their friends said that they had to call the police, the children fled and hid in a wooded area near their house. Police found them in the morning, and at first, they said that the killing was an accident, which was a hard story to stick to because detectives were at the scene and they realized that the body had been moved. There's bleach on the carpet. Like the scene is, these are professionals. You guys are 12 and 13 years old. If it was an accident, why'd you move the body? If it was an accident, why'd you pour bleach on the ground? And, you know, so shortly after the interview with the police began, the children admitted to their plot to kill Spates. Catherine would later say that, as absurd as it sounds, despite the severity of the charges, she was just happy to no longer be in that house, which is incredibly sad, but also profound. Like, listen, if I'm going to prison, that's fine. I just couldn't spend another day in that house. Despite a record of concern in some DCF visit files, a lack of concrete evidence of sexual abuse proved difficult to build a trial defense around. Investigators also pointed out Catherine's apparent lack of remorse. So basically, what I just said was, there was smoke, but there was never any real proof to any accusations. So to say, like, we did this whole thing because we were being abused, and there's no proof, definitive proof of either of them being abused. There are DCF agents going out there and saying, we suspect something. There are signs, something sketchy. She said this to her mom. He said this to her mom. The school said this. There's no proof. So we can't build this whole thing around, well, they just couldn't take it anymore. They were in the middle of being abused and they snapped and they just defended themselves. Because there's no proof of that.
How do you ignore something like that from a 13-year-old? They came out with a plan to kill one of the abusers in the home, and you just go like, all right, well, we can't. I get they, court, you can't build. They can't build a case.
There it is.
But it's like, you still.
That's it. But that's it right there.
Though, man.
It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. And if the prosecution is saying this is what they killed this person. Also, if the prosecution is saying this, yes, but also keep this in mind. If the prosecution is saying this was defense, it's like, well, Sonia Spates didn't abuse them. The defense attorneys are always like, let's say that she was sexually assaulted, which, okay, why would they shoot their father's husband or their father's girlfriend? So what the prosecution ended up saying was they were jealous of their relationship the girlfriend was having with their father. She was taking the father away from them, and they teamed up as brother and sister to kill this woman, to get this woman out of their life. And that story sells better than, well, it was self-defense. Okay, well, if it was self-defense, why'd they shoot the woman and not the guy that they're saying is a molester? Well, they had a plan to get to him eventually. Okay, well, jury, that sounds crazy, right? Am I right, jury? Other lawyer tricks, we don't really believe that. I think it's crazy.
What if dad wasn't home? Maybe the other guy wasn't home. And Child Protective Service has been out at least 3 times. The defense could say that.
Never proved anything. Dropped every investigation was closed.
That's crazy.
What's that Rick Ross meme? Accusations. It's just accusations, man. That's all it is. Accusations.
No, that's just I hate court, but yeah, sure, whatever.
It's tough, but again, we're gonna hold all of our personal feelings till we finish wrapping things up, which we are winding down. Things are pretty laid out at this point. So, knowing a first-degree murder conviction would result in a life sentence, lawyers worked out a plea deal for a second-degree murder. It was accepted on August 16th of 1999. According to attorney Kepler Funk, the only way that they could have presented a self-defense argument was if the kids had been in imminent danger. Tony Hernandez was an attorney who represented both the children briefly before they got new representation. So not Kepler Funk. Kepler Funk is an attorney, but he wasn't their attorney. Tony Hernandez was their attorney who represented them briefly, and he said that he had hoped for a manslaughter charge, and a manslaughter charge and a juvenile sentence. They got one of the two. So he was saying if he would have got both those things, then they could have served 3 years in prison and 4 years on probation.
Prison is nuts. To be that young?
Prison is absolutely nuts. Now we're talking at this point, we're talking about 14, 13-year-old. 14-year-old and 13-year-old. Yes, absolutely crazy. So they were charged with second-degree murder, but as adults. So they got one of the two. They got to drop down to second-degree murder, but they were charged as adults.
Now, is that part of the prosecution? Is that part of them trying to what they was aiming for? Or?
I'm sure the prosecution wanted to give them as much prison time as he could.
That's fucked up, ain't it though?
It's very fucked up, but the prosecution's job is based on the story that he tells. I'm sure if they accepted, like let's say this was a case where the family member was attacking the kids right there in the moment, they were in imminent danger and they shoot him. If the prosecutor has to go, that happened, that's a fact, and they shot him in self-defense, then of course it would make them look bad as a prosecutor to throw the book at these kids, if that's the story he has to tell. But the story the prosecutor had to tell was not that. That was the story of the defense. The story the prosecutor told was these kids hated their father's girlfriend, didn't want her around anymore, and so they killed her. These are bad kids. These are evil kids who planned a malicious murder, dragged the body to a bathroom, and poured bleach on the carpet. This was an intentional murder, and they killed this woman because they didn't want her around anymore. I want them to do the most time they could do. This is evil. They are evil kids. So you get what I'm saying?
No, I get it.
If it was the reverse and then the prosecutor's like, listen, something bad happened. We got to give them time, but they were defending themselves. This guy was a bad person. And so let's charge them as kids. They would have got the sentence that this guy's Tony Hernandez was saying. They would have got 3 years in a juvenile prison or whatever, and then 4 years on probation because they did kill somebody, but they were in imminent danger. It was them. They were being assaulted, and so they defended themselves. But that's not the story the prosecution told. They told the story of a terrible duo of evil Dutch twins who need the book thrown at them, and that's what he did.
Damn, how do you sleep at night?
So, very well in the big house, I'm sure.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah, it's like, whatever.
Damn, nah, I couldn't be a lawyer, man. I couldn't do it.
Specifically a prosecutor, you come across, it's like, your job is not to be right. Your job is to win. So you might go, oh, this person definitely did this, but the defense has no proof of that. Or this person definitely didn't do this. They're the prosecutor. This person definitely didn't do this, but their defense is terrible, and so I'm going to lock them the fuck up and win this case. I could be wrong, but I'm sure prosecutors don't go, well, let me try to see if this kid is innocent. Because I'm sure you don't want to know. I'm looking at trying to make them look guilty. That's my job. Trying to make them look innocent, you could come across something that goes, well, their cell phone says they weren't anywhere near. That's not my job. That's the defense's job.
But you do know that information, though. You do know that information where it's just like,
if it's discovered, if it's made evident to everybody.
Though, you know that information where it's just like,
but it's not my job to be looking and connecting the dots. No, it's not my job. I'm connecting. I'm connecting
even
my
on the
dots.
side of being a defendant, where I'm like, Johnny Cochran. If I'm Johnny Cochran, and I'm like,
Alan
got
Dershowitz.
this man off on a double homicide, and now I get to hop in my Mercedes Benz or whatever Rolls Royce and go. I don't know if I can. That's just me. I don't know if I can live my life.
Shake his hand, give him a hug.
I don't know. The hit. It's like, oh, he did it. It's like all the effort.
And I
got him off.
And some usual suspect shit happened when OJ when Johnny Cochran said, "All right, OJ, man, drive safe." He's like, "I will," and then he put on some isotoner gloves to drive his car home, and was like, "Thanks a lot, Johnny. Be safe out there in the world. There's a lot of dangerous people." He gets in the car and drives away. Nah, some spooky shit happened when they parted ways. OJ was like, shit. He drove away and threw a bag, a Ziploc bag over a bridge as he drove away. It was like, that was the knife. Listen, it's a dark game to be in criminal justice for sure. So Hernandez, who was their early attorney, Tony Hernandez, said that dealing with Curtis Jr. was heartbreaking. He said he remembers the child asking if he could have his Nintendo video game with him in prison.
Reality hasn't set in yet. It's like
he just can't. He can't comprehend what is really happening. He's 13 years old, and he's like, "Do they have game? Can I play my game? And while I'm there, can my sister come?" I'm sure he asked a lot of sad fucking questions. So, Curtis Jones was 12 when he was sentenced to spend 18 years in prison on second-degree murder charges.
12 years old, man.
12 years old, bro. His sister, Catherine Jones, was 13 years old when she was sentenced, and she was also convicted on murder charges related to the killing of Sonia Spates, and she was also sentenced to 18 years in prison.
I'm surprised they got the same time, though.
I think if she was 18 and he was 12, he wouldn't have done a day in prison, even if he shot the gun.
So
because it was her plan.
Did she wipe the gun after did she wipe the gun after?
She took it from him, shot it, finished her off basically,
and then wiped it,
and then wiped the gun off. So they both were sentenced to 18 years in prison. In 2015, Curtis was released from prison. Now a 29-year-old ordained minister sporting prison tattoos on his stomach and on his arms, and I mean, I don't want to know. He's never done an interview himself. Catherine's the only person that's done public interviews. I'm sure he doesn't want to talk about what happened to him in prison.
But him getting
12 years old.
He lost a huge chunk of his life. Being that young.
Formative,
but he's not 70 getting out of jail. I mean, that's a silver lining, right?
Of course not. But you can't regrow. You know what I mean? 12 to 29, prom, heartbreak, the things that happen to you as a kid that emotionally mature you and develop you into a 29-year-old. Could you go to prison at 12? I've heard so many people say, well, whatever the age is when you go to prison, that's the age when it's like time freezes. You don't grow. You don't learn new foods that you like. You don't travel. You are stunted as a person. All you can do is read books. Everybody that comes home from prison is like, I read 50 Laws of Power. They have this new education, book learning, but they have not grown as a person. In 18 years, this person has been a 12-year-old for 18 years, but had to defend himself, got prison tattoos, became an ordained minister, which means he probably did some dark stuff and then turned his life around or whatever. He grew up in prison. Really fucking tough, man. That's a really fucking tough thing to know that somebody spent 18 years in prison from the time they were 12. So he was released first. And then Catherine Jones, who was now 30 years old, was released just a couple of months after Curtis. During her time in prison, she participated in interviews, which is what we played. That was some audio from an interview that she did. She also opened up about her abuse because that wasn't really fully a part of their trial until later. Like, they didn't know everything that was going on in the house until later when she already was convicted and in prison, when she really opened up about all the stuff that was happening in the house. So she did interviews and opened up about her abuse that her and her brother suffered that led them to doing what they did. Sonia also got married while incarcerated. And some of the quotes from the now 30-year-old woman after her release were really heartbreaking. For example, she said that she needed to learn to trust people again. She said, quote, "In here, you can't trust people. Everyone has a motive for everything. I don't really know how to relate to people. I was exposed to things that I never would have been exposed to at home. There was no way to grow into something different." That's what she said about prison. Yeah. A 13-year-old person went in there, and it's just like, everybody has these ulterior motives. I can't trust anybody. And I still got out. I'm out, and that's just who I am now. That's who I've been like programmed into being, is I'm just skeptical of everybody. Yeah. She also said, which we talk about a lot, we joke about a lot, cell phones, the internet, driving, and, other stuff. "I never went to high school," she said. She also went on to say, "I never wore makeup at home or got my nails done or highlights or any of that good stuff."
You have any friends? Except for the friends you made in prison. But
and the friends you made up until you were 12, 13, 11 years old? Like, I mean.
They forgot about
this is
at that point.
Damn.
What?
She said, "I miss food, too, more than anything." And they got out and they hired some attorneys, and there was a petition for clemency floating around. But in the 8 years since they've been released, I don't believe that they have not received it. I don't think they've received clemency. But they're free. They were not. The sad part about this is not a story about something was discovered or something was reversed. Like, they just served 18 years. That's how much they did their time, and they were released, and they are felons of murder, and that's who they are. Fran, what are your thoughts on like the murder? Their conviction, like, how do you feel? What side are you on?
Now, when you ask me that question, I'm getting flashbacks. Now, this is not to that level. I'm getting flashbacks of Michelle Blair type of situation. But I do want.
I'm gonna ask you to walk. I'm gonna ask you to walk carefully.
I do want to, be careful with what I say, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to. I just want to put that in to make sure I'm aware of like. Whatever I say is just we're talking, we're having a conversation.
Mm-hmm. And just talking openly, talking freely. Yes.
Now, do I agree with the sentence? Let's start with that. No, but like what I said, it doesn't matter because, like you said, it's just what you can prove
in court.
So it's like, even if I go like, they don't deserve that, it's like, it doesn't matter. Now, does Sonia Spates, does she deserve? No, I think she was just. It was an opportunity that was open, and they took the opportunity. I think if they, I don't know if that's if I should say they maybe wanted to kill their dad, because at the end of the day, that's their father, and he wasn't the one abusing them, but he did play a huge part.
They were all playing their
part in it. I think if they wanted to, they would have got the guy who's, I can't believe that we don't know his name.
Yeah.
To put him out there, but I think if they wanted to pick somebody, it would have been him. But I think the opportunity they had, it boiled over to the tipping point where it was just like, this is the person that we have an opportunity to do it, so we just did it to her. Does she deserve it? Obviously not. But I mean, like, how? What are you supposed to do if you're going through a situation where like you're being abused and it's like we got to do something so we can get the fuck up out of here?
Yeah. And
my question would be, would they trade or would they do it any different? Because if they actually they went to prison, but they got out of that situation of being abused as kids. So it's like, would they go and like, we would do it differently? Like, I don't know if they would though.
I think they would have killed.
Yeah, but it's like,
if you ask them that question, I bet that's what they would say.
Yeah, but as far as like, but I'm saying like, not even just who they killed. I mean, like, just what they did, just in general. Would they trade? Yeah. Would they trade that and being like, I'd rather we didn't do that. We just stayed in the house and kind of like,
No, that was a tough. I mean, what you're saying? Like, would you just continue to be abused if you could do it all over again?
They did 18 years.
Yeah, I think the answer would be
they did
no.
18 years. For me, I would go. I did 18 years, but I got out of that fucking house.
Yeah,
you know.
But my point. Well, for one, to agree with you on that, I don't think there was no innocent people in that house.
No, absolutely not.
Now, did the father or Sonia Space deserve to be killed? I don't think so. But they were not. She was not like a casualty, innocent person who caught a stray. But she played her role in, enabling kids to be molested. Okay. 18 years is a long time. And then when you get the full story, and again, you know that nothing was changed, nothing was reversed. They just did 18 years of prison time. Yeah. Like, they have no reason to be lying or like, it doesn't matter. So, and the evidence of him being a molester before, I believe that these were two kids who were being molested and couldn't take it anymore. And they formulated a plan to kill everybody. And as kids with their plan, they followed through their plan as kids and were like, well, we have an opportunity to start the plan. Right. And so Sonia Space was home. Nobody else was home. And so they followed through with their plan like kids. Yeah. And now as adults, they're like, well, probably we should have just like killed the person who was assaulting us. But we felt they were all evil and responsible. For sure. Yeah. So they did what they had to do. And it's really tragic and sad that these kids lost 18 years of their lives, but also they dragged the body to the bathtub. They poured bleach on the blood. They wiped the gun down. They ran to their friend's house and said it was an accident. They hid in the woods. They told police it was an accident at first, and then when the evidence was put in front of them, they changed their. They confessed. Yeah. Like they did everything they could to like obfuscate responsibility. And so, while they are 12 and 13 years old, it's 1986, and you guys are moving like adults. You guys are moving like guilty adults who committed a crime and don't want to get in trouble for it. You know what I mean? So I don't know if coming out of the gates, calling the police, there was nothing to really say because, again, Sonia Space was not molesting them. It's not like they could call the police panicking and being like, we were being molested and so we shot her. This was a plan. So it all shows intent. Yeah. So when you start to confess and you go, okay, so here's the deal. We were being molested. By Sonia Space? I'm the detective. By Sonia Space? No, we were being molested by a family member who was living with me, my brother, Sonia, and our dad. Okay, well, how does Sonia get involved? Well, they were all enabling him to be there. Her daughter was molested by this guy. It's like, okay, so, but why'd you shoot her? Well, we had this plan. So the plan was we were done with this and we were going to kill everybody. Yeah. And so we decided to kill everybody. And it just so happened that our dad was out of the house and the family member was out of the house and she was home. And so we decided to follow through with our plan that we formulated and kill her with the gun that we decided to kill her with. So it all is like this planned motive was there and it was an intentional killing. It wasn't this like spur of the moment, emotional, we got attacked, so we attacked.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it was an opportunity though. Like, if you was to get jumped by 3 people, or let's say you get jumped by 5 people, and it's like you're out and you're like, I'm gonna get all of them back. But the guy that maybe, I don't know, took my book bag, he was just, I'm going after him. I'm going after everybody that's involved.
Yeah, and you will go to prison though,
and
Fran.
I don't care. But I don't care. But it's like these people all played a part. Do they deserve it? No. But it's like you played a part, and then I caught you before I caught the other ones. I didn't make the order, and I'm gonna handle my business. I mean, like, that's just how it's gonna go.
Okay. Yeah, and that's what happened. And so they got 18 years in prison.
Well, but will I go? But I would do 18 years in prison. But will I go with a smile on my face because like I got all them back? You damn right. Damn Skippy, I would.
But you didn't get all of them back. You didn't get the guy that did the worst of it, and you didn't get your dad who like was beating your mom, like ruined. Really, the fathers who ruined their life in every way that you can think of. Brought the person into the home, drove their mother away.
But that just mean my plan didn't go.
Forced them to lie to the DCF.
I didn't finish my plan though.
Oh, please.
I'm saying like if I.
Oh, you didn't get to finish your plan. Right. But, so I don't know how much.
The story or the signal I'm putting out there to the main person would have been, they'd have got the point where it would have been like, oh well, if he'd have got to me at some point if he'd have went through with his plan.
Yeah, I want you to live in fear for the rest.
That. I'm totally happy with that.
Look over your shoulder for the rest of your life.
He would walk every day of his life going like, damn, that'd have been a story he'd have told all his friends or whatever. Like
maybe they stopped him from being a child molester. I'm just trying to have a silver lining, man. I'm trying to.
But he will be like, damn, they was coming after me.
Yeah.
And I just happened. She was home. Bad luck. She was just home at the time, and I wasn't.
Yeah, and the plan was hatched. But yeah, man, that was the story of Catherine Curtis Jones at the time in 1998 or 1999. Man. They were the youngest people convicted of first-degree murder in this country ever. Super complicated story. I'm interested to see what people think about this one. Sad story, of course, but yeah, it was a wild one for sure. Fran, what's something you're thankful for, sir?
I'm thankful for it being almost fall. I'm thankful for that.
Oh my God, man! Coats. Can't wait to wear coats.
Oh, I do
again.
I started watching this show. Recommendation. I started watching this show.
Ooh.
On Max, on HBO Max. It's called Max now. I just been watching all kinds of shit. So I've been watching this show. Yeah. How to, I think his name is John Wilson. I think. I've
seen this. This is on my list. I never watched
watching it, and I only got to the first episode, but I liked it because the first episode is how to small talk, and he it's just this genuine raw documentary where he films it and he talks and he's stuttering and he trying to finish sentences on the spot. It's it didn't seem like it was much editing or much takes to it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that
it feels real.
That feels real. That rawness of the way it's just he's talking on the spot. He's talking on the spot. Yeah. He's trying to figure out words or he's trying to complete sentences in the moment. It's not all everything's not all perfect. So
it's not chopping so that the sentence is perfectly coming out.
I love it, man. I like it so far. And he brought up a point where he was saying that I can't remember what it was, but it was how you say a sentence and then people take it a different way. He asked this guy, damn, I wanted to bring this up and I fucking forgot. He asked him about climate change or something, and and it's the way you ask it, people would answer
wasn't what you meant.
People answer in a different way. It's just how the tone you said and the context of where you're at on how you ask that question. Yeah, so I like it, man. I really like it. I didn't get to another episode, but the first one was fun.
Because that's a question that could lead to if you go what do you think about climate change? People are it's all bullshit, right? Fuck that. But if you're what do you think about climate change? People are oh my God, it's real, and you could engage with two completely different types of people depending on how you say it.
Damn, I forgot what it. And then what's another one I was watching? I watched the telemarketing one.
You just been maxed out,
huh? Telemarketing a thing about this how people do these scams on how businesses do these scams or not. It's a scam. How business do these scams where it's you go to for example Panda Express where they're do you want to donate to whatever, but what they do is they'll pay an organization. We'll give you $1 million, and we'll use your name.
And they might collect.
We'll use your name so we can get a donation, and we'll.
But they might collect way over $1 million.
Yeah, so they'll get okay, well we'll give you this check up front, and we'll get somebody give us $1. We'll give you 30 cents of that dollar, and we'll keep the rest. But we're using your name to kind of get it
to collect the money.
Damn, that's how that works. Simple, man. Oh man, it's a telemarketing. I can't remember it's called telemarketing something, but it was just a business that was scamming people. And the funny thing is, not to get too deep, they was collecting donations on part of some type of police force or whatever. And they'll send you this sticker when you donate. And I have a sticker on my back door when I bought this house. And it's the same fucking sticker. And I went, what the crazy? Oh somebody man, it was wild, man.
Somebody that got scammed.
I was like, wow, that's crazy. But it's
whoever lived at your house before got
but it's a sticker of a police department shield where it kind of people see it and kind of deters them off from not stealing, breaking your house or something like that. Oh man,
they keep calling me them scammers, man. The police one. Listen, I'm not saying the police ones are scammers, but they every time. I don't know if this is every telemarketer, but the telemarketers that call me from the police donation whatever. I pick up the phone. It's always from a number it's not a 1-800 number, but it's from a county in the state that I never been to. I don't know anybody from here. I pick up the phone. It's hello? I'm like, hello? Is this Alvin? I'm like, yes. The police need your help and support we would love to, and now it's a robot.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they do that. I don't know if I guess they pick up the phone or they call, I pick up, it's a real person. They make sure that I'm there and then they hit play on the video. I don't know. That shit throws me up every time. I'm like, hello?
Yeah. And
is this Alvin? Yes, this is Alvin. The police need you so much. A donation would change everything. Yep. So I'm like, who is this? How'd you get my phone number? And if you donate today, everything will. And it's just, I'm like, oh, this is a robot, but that wasn't a robot at first.
Yeah. It's crazy because like they show it and they show like the behind the scenes type shit. Like some guy just was like a good salesman. He just started recording. They was in there. It's just like these young kids and they was just in there playing football and shit. This fucking office. It's crazy. But I've been going off on shows. I watched this other show called You Should Leave with Tim Robinson.
Oh yeah, the sketch show.
Hilarious.
Yeah, he's a nut.
Man, I was dying.
Every one of his sketches are like they're like funny, but they're uncomfortable. I would love to see him do like a Jordan Peele type of movie.
Man. So I just been
because they're funny, but it's always like something. He's crazy. He's always like crazy, and the scenarios are always.
It's hilarious.
It's like, never reality. It's always some weird type of. He's got a different type of brain.
It was funny though. But yeah, I just been watching a lot of just random shit. But it's been funny though.
Well, we're making recommendations before I get out of here. I highly recommend that people check out Painkiller on Netflix. It's a really good show. It's a short. It's what do they call it? A limited series. I think it's about 5-6 episodes. It's about the opioid epidemic, and I don't want to mess her name up, but she played Crazy Eyes in Orange Is the New Black, and I don't know her name right now, and I don't want to mess it up because she's an incredible actress. And the show basically dives into how the Sackler family, whatever drug company they own, I can't remember what. Purdue. They own the Purdue company, the Sackler family, and how they
the one like make chicken.
No, I don't know if they also own that, but we're talking about Big Pharma.
Oh, okay, my bad.
They own Purdue, the company. So
that is the
they
name.
Took
that's the people that make chicken. Okay,
yeah, Purdue Chicken. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It might be spelled different, or it might be, or they might own chicken and pills. I don't know. They might be a conglomerate, but they took OxyContin. They took OxyContin and marketed it as this miracle drug, knowing that it was highly addictive, and they basically caused the opioid epidemic to fatten their pockets and make a ton of money. And they killed a bunch of people, and eventually there was like a class action lawsuit against them. And yeah, I mean, they did a lot of damage, and the show basically lays out the whole thing and how quickly it was. The one they took Tim Riggins, my boy Tim Riggins from Friday Night Lights, the TV show. He's in the show, and he's a mechanic, right? And it was as simple as one day he was being a mechanic because I was helping somebody move this weekend. I couldn't stop thinking about this damn show. He was a mechanic, hardworking dude, a dad. You know, he was, and his stepson was playing around on like an excavator machine that grabs dirt. Okay. They were using those to crush cars. He owned a car mechanic. He was a mechanic. And the kid was playing around, and he's telling him, "Get out of the car, man. Get out of the excavator. You're messing around." And the kid played around with the joysticks, and he cranked it, and it pushed him off balance. He fell, and when he fell, his back hit like a muffler that was on the ground, and he broke his back.
So is this a show? Or
it's like a show.
Oh, okay.
It's a show. It's like six. Okay. It's like a show. It's like a show, but it tells the story of how the opioid epidemic took place.
Ooh, okay, got you. All right.
So it's fast paced and it's crazy. But anyway, I just wanted to about this specific instance, and this is like there's many different sides of the story, but this is one of the perspectives. Okay. All the way. So there's the high level of like the family that's making billions of dollars of selling the trying to get the drug passed by the FDA. Yeah. Then they have like the salesman level of like them going into doctors' offices and being like, you need to sell OxyContin to people because they need their pain relieved. And then they show you the bottom level, which is like the person who takes OxyContin. And this guy, the way he was just a regular everyday dude, broke his back, had to get back surgery. And then his doctor's like, I know you've been taking Vicodin and stuff, but it's not strong enough. But there's this new drug called OxyContin, and it'll help you with pain way better. And this dude became a junkie. Like that quick, like you go get a surgery, the doctor gives you some pain medication. The pain medication works so good, but they don't tell you it's basically heroin in a pill. And now you're taking 12 OxyContins a day, but your doctor's telling you it's fine.
Yeah, you get addicted.
Until you realize you're addicted to this shit, and then when you try to kick it, you can't. Yeah. And now your whole life's fucked up. Dude lost his family and everything. It's crazy.
They gave my dad, when my dad had surgery a while ago, they gave him that, and he was like, I'm not taking that shit.
It's heroin.
Yeah.
Like if you get too dependent on it, it ruins the synapses in your brain, and that produce dopamine. Your brain stops producing it, and now you need the drug to do it. So once your brain realizes that it's not getting that anymore, when you try to kick drug, that's what withdrawal is. Your brain has stopped doing something, and now it needs the drug to make it do something, and you're not giving it to it. And now you're like freaking out on your it just was so sad, man. And the way it was like, we talk about it a lot, but the way it was such a push a key on a laptop when you get all the way to the top, it's just some family going like, why don't you take this guy out to lunch and buy him a car, and that way he'll stamp this piece of paper that says Oxycontin is approved by the FDA. And just that decision killed hundreds of thousands of people and ruins lives. While this family's but they're just like, yeah, we took him out to dinner. We got approved. Now we can start marketing.
Making bank.
And they're up there they're making billions of dollars. And that decision trickled down. And by the time it trickled down, people were robbing pharmacies and killing people and addicted to drugs and losing their families. So Painkiller on Netflix,
when did it come on? Like, because like opioids is like fairly new, right? It's like it hasn't been around.
No, they've been around. They've been around for. I mean, opioids has been around for hundreds of years. But like,
I mean, like when it's
big pharma.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Oxycontin is kind of the name that people know. There was other versions of painkillers that people would get addicted to slightly.
I feel like Oxycontin had a bigger name.
Oxycontin's like the one.
1 point before opioids, though.
No, opioid. That's Oxycontin is opioid is what's in Oxycontin.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought it was. Oh,
so you talk about like opioid, like heroin is an opioid. So like opioids have been around.
I thought opioid was like a ibuprofen.
No, opioid is like the plant. It's from the poppy. It's from a poppy.
It's an ingredient inside of the.
It's the ingredient.
Okay.
Opioid is the thing that makes you drugged up,
right.
And Oxycontin is an opioid, right? So
I don't know drugs, that's about. Oh, no.
Yeah, me neither. So Oxycontin came around probably in like the late 90s. And but the way that the lady who plays Crazy Eyes in Orange is the New Black, the way she lays it out is like she took a crime map and took from like 81 to 87 and was like carjackings, homicides, unemployment, welfare claims, unemployment claims, disability claims. And she laid it with the map of the crack epidemic. And she was saying all of this stuff correlates, and this is the spike that we were able to map out during the crack epidemic. And then she was like, this is the last 4 or 5 years since the Oxycontin has hit the street. And she was like, it's the same spike. The same things that were happening because crack was starting to take over in areas and cities in the country, the crime rates, the unemployment, the violence, everything. The same spike is happening right now. We're on the verge of an epidemic. So she was early on in seeing that Oxycontin was causing these problems. And the fact that she could map it out to like the rise in crime. So it just lays it out in a really cool way. I like movies and shows like that. Like The Big Short was about the housing market crash in 2008, and they made it like fun and crazy and easy to understand because that's just complicated sometimes. We talking about stock markets and defaulting on loans and all that shit. Sometimes it's too hard to. You're like, it's boring.
Yeah, can get
But The Big Short made it like fun, and they was like they made it. They would cut to a casino and be like, a mortgage company will take 10 houses with people living in them that they don't think can pay their mortgage, and then bundle them all into one thing and then sell that to another company. And now they're called like risky. I can't remember I haven't seen The Big Short in a long time, but basically they dumb it down, and they dumbed down the opioid epidemic in Painkiller in a really cool way where you really understand and they simplify it. And I'm sure it's more complicated and personal responsibility and all that type of stuff. I'm sure, I get all that, but I'm just saying this family did something that caused a lot of pain and turmoil in this country. So Painkiller, highly recommended. Yeah. But until then, I've been Alvin Williams, joined as always by my partner in true crime, Fran and Alvin. And we'll see you guys next week.
Deuces.